Okay, I'm
Okay.
ready. Go ahead.
Notice this is, what time is it? Hold on just a moment. It is 6:33 p.m. We're going to call the meeting to order. This is a meeting of, notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, being held today, Thursday, April 23rd, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. by telephonic video conferencing for the purpose of considering the following agenda items. All agenda items are subject to action. Ms. Shelton, could we get a quorum call, please?
Yes, Alderman Tremblay,
Here.
Alderman Walker.
Here.
Alderman Rapino,
You have to unmute.
Alderman Rapino,
Here.
Alderman Yelton,
Here.
Alderman Fillinger.
Here.
You have a quorum.
And Cassandra is on the line, yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Item number 2 on the agenda is citizens to be heard. Ms. Shelton, did we receive any comments from citizens?
No, ma'am, we did not.
Okay, we will cross that one off then. Item number 3, mayor and administrative announcements and updates. Item 3A has to do with COVID-19. So as I mentioned at the last meeting, this is a ever-changing topic and continues to be so up till just 5 minutes ago. There's a lot happening. If you're keeping up with the news, you can see that the governor and the county judge and the Mayor Nuremberg, they're working to open up businesses in a safe manner. For now, it's the same as we have been in the past. Washing hands, sanitizing surfaces, keeping social distancing. And now whenever you go into a store, everyone that works at the store has to wear a mask, and anyone entering the store has to wear a mask. I know there's been some discussion from some people who don't agree with that. It's kind of irrelevant. It's what it is right now. The intent is still to slow the spread, and quite honestly, in Texas, they've been doing a very, very good job of that. As far as item 3B, the new municipal building construction. So the building is in. All pieces have been delivered. They have all been connected. There is the bulletproof glass that the council had approved for the building that we're currently in. We decided it was best not to put it in that building since we knew we would be moving. So that has now been installed and is complete in the new building. There's some cleanup activity that's going on there. And again, this particular building is not set to be open and functional until sometime next year. This was not in our plan for this year. So there's not much more activity that's going to be going on unless there's some additional funding that we can find to maybe start getting some of the additional work done in preparation of that. Item 4, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the current agenda and will be considered separately. There are 2 items on the consent agenda. The first one is to approve the minutes from March 12th, 2020 regular City Council meeting. And the second one is approve the minutes from the April 9th, 2020 regular City Council meeting.
And I did not have the minutes from the March 12th, 2020 meeting ready. So the only item would be 4B if you want to pull 4A.
Okay. So we're going to remove item 4A. And so the only item for consideration would be the minutes from the April 9th regular meeting.
Charles has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have to look up there. The chair recognizes Alderman Fillinger.
Yes, ma'am. I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
That was Alderman Walker that seconded just now.
Got it. Okay, Alderman Walker, second. All in favor of approving consent item 4B? Please say aye. You'll have to unmute yourself first. Please say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries. Okay. Let's move on to item 5, which is a presentation. This is a presentation of the draft master plan from Tony Salcedo with Mendez Engineering and possible action. And Tony, I will turn it over to you. Don't forget to unmute yourself. And then I think Catherine has a presentation to show on the screen. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I can. You want me to share my screen, Tony, or you just want the
Let me-
map?
Let me try this. Share. Screen 1. Y'all see it? Oh, I'm gonna hit share. Hold up a minute. How's that? Do y'all see that?
Yes,
not.
The map?
I do.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we'll talk about, I'll have that map up in case you have the questions. Let me give you a brief rundown of what the master plan, what's in the master plan. Did y'all get your copy and have a chance to kind of review it a little bit?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. So it covers the summary of the plan, the goals and objectives of the plan, the future land use, and what that means is the future land, the future use of the land that you can move to, should you want to. This is not an ordinance where it's something you have to do. This is just a plan for you to use to develop your city. Implementation of the summary. So it shows you how to implement some of the things that should you choose to implement some of them, it gives you a map of how to do that in the process to do it in, to move forward for that particular area. And then I share with you the survey summary. So I put a copy in the report of both surveys, Spanish and English. And I give you a summary of the survey by telling you the percentage of the people that voted or that submitted and what they wanted, what is most important to most of the people at San Diego. And so you can always go back to there in case you want to do something and you want to kind of measure support for it or against. You can go back there and touch those subjects and see what the people were saying way back when they submitted their survey. It's a good gauge. It's a good tool to have. So let me cover the master plan a little, and then I'll open it up for
Hey,
questions.
I have a question, Tony.
Go ahead.
How many surveys were sent out?
128.
You sent
Oh, how many were sent out? We
Yes.
got
I saw how many responded. How many were sent?
I think almost 4,000.
And we got 129 back?
Yes. We got, let me tell you about that a little bit. We received a bunch of them back where people had took the envelope, scratched out Sandy Oaks, and returned it to us with a note on the envelope saying, we're not Sandy Oaks, we live in Elmendorf.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, and then we got some that just never replied. You know, we just never got anything back. And
Okay.
some came back, and I would go down there on Google Earth to see if there's an actual house in that address, and there is an actual house there, and you know it's occupied and everything. They just returned it.
And Tony, this is
Yeah.
Nikki. I do have a question.
Yes.
The map that is showing now
Yes.
is, could you talk through some of the colors on here and maybe zoom in a little bit so that
Sure.
we can kind of
So now
see?
this map is on, so that you can have a better look at it. I don't know how good the screen is. It would be under section 3. Go to if you have a copy of the report there,
Got it. Yeah, I got it right here.
Yeah, if you go to section 3, the second page in section 3, there's the map. Okay. And so I'll cover those are all the different colors of the different zonings that you can move to. Okay. So this is different than your zoning map. Okay. Your zoning map that you currently have was put together by the neighborhood, or each plat had certain ordinances or covenants that cover those particular properties in that individual subdivision. Like some people are allowed to have animals, some are not. Some people, they have a minor rule differences between the different subdivisions that were platted at the time of Sandy Oaks, when it was Waterwood. So so your zoning map is geared more to satisfying that. This future land use map is more for how you want the city to grow and what it's going to do. So as you can see, most of it's residential. There's a couple of commercial. Let me go back so I can break that out for you. Future land uses. Okay, so the land uses. Let me zoom to mine here. We have the R1 single family, right? The R1 single family, semi-agricultural, residential, single family. Those are 5 acres, minimum 5 acre piece of property, a lot that you have out there. The R2 high density residential single family, that has a minimum of ½ acre. So those most of your lots are R2. We have a C1 light commercial, office type. Okay, and we have a C2 commercial that's more light industrial, and that's what has your restaurants. The reason that we break them up is because of the type of septic system that's required for the particular use. If you're a restaurant, your septic system would be different than if you were an office space, just a couple of restroom toilets and stuff. So that's why the difference is there. On downtown district, that was Lou's idea, Lou Fox. He thinks that, or he plans to have be able to qualify once you get into the CBDG program, qualify for special tax refunds for a special downtown district. And you can use that to regulate the appearance of your city. What do you want it to look like as people drive in there? And so he created an area there for where any development that happens in that area would have to comply with those requirements that you put out there for the downtown area, for the downtown district. The last one is the RA1 residential agricultural single family. Those are 8 acre parcels that you have. Those are the big parcels. Those are have animals and stuff on, you know, they keep animals and stuff. So if they're there already, so you keep them there. They can stay. I mean, you're not going to change that. And that's what the different colors identify there. Okay, so the plan provides for you, the city council, the mayor, and the Planning and Zoning Commission, city management and staff, property owners, residents, developers, and other community stakeholders with a long-range guide for the future growth of Sandy Oaks. So what this is a plan. It's just a plan, an idea, and you can change this as you go. It's not permanent. You know, a master plan is a tool that allows the city to anticipate changes and to guide those changes in a cost-effective, orderly manner that is consistent with the desires of the community. So as your desires change or something happens that you want to say your focus is on business development, and then all of a sudden he says, you know what, the hell with that, we want to, oh, sorry about that, heck with that, I want to focus on the parks. We're going to start working on more on the parks. And so you can do that and you can change it as you go. There's on the beginning of a master plan, you normally have your demographic information. I didn't include this because I want to use the 2020 census information that's going to be coming out pretty soon. The one that is current, you already show it on your website. There's two reasons that I wanted to. First, I wanted more current data. Then I want to give you the opportunity to amend the master plan. So in a few months, when they release the 2020 census, I'm going to come back and I'm going to request or petition the city to amend the master plan so that I can include the demographic information out of the 2020 census. So it's a process that will show you what you need to do to amend your master plan, even though my amendment is going to be so small, we're just going to include something in it. But it's the same process if you were to change the path that you're following on your master plan. You can amend it, and that's the path that we'll use. If you review the future land use, the goals and objectives, if you have any questions about that or how we implement the summary, I mean, now's the time to ask. Are there any questions for that? Do you have any comments, anything that you want more explanation on? Yeah, don't
This
forget
is
to unmute.
Alderman Walker.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
surprised that the animal control was not included in the survey.
The animal control, that is already, the reason I didn't include the animal control is because you already have that. It's already an ordinance, not something that you're going to plan to do. What's in the master plan are things that you're going to grow into. So you're already covered there. You already have that.
Oh, okay. We don't, but okay.
Someone else?
I wanted to respond to Alderman Walker. We do have animal control. It's not fully developed, but
Right.
we have an ordinance in place, we have personnel in place, we have activities. And so that, because that was already underway, those were things that the master plan was not going to address.
Okay, I was thinking development of the actual shelter because it's
No.
not
No.
active yet.
That's still part of our ongoing program.
Yeah. Okay.
More? Mickey, you have any questions?
No, I do not have any questions.
Lou?
The fact that it is something, a kind of a living, breathing document that we can come back and look at and address in the future is helpful.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's not something that's set. It's something you can grow with.
Right.
What's interesting, if you get a chance, go to the back and look through the surveys.
Right. So I do have a question, because you said some people crossed out that it was not Sandy Oaks, that they were Elmendorf. Did they answer the survey, or that's all you got back?
That closed. They didn't even open the envelope.
Oh, really?
No, they just saw that that said Sandy Oaks, scratched it out, sent it back.
Okay.
But they were addresses within Sandy Oaks?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, when you look up their deeds and their Bexar County stuff, I think some of the addresses say Elmendorf, but most of them say Sandy Oaks. So I use those. Like most of the things that you're already doing, the people that did vote, they're in favor of everything you're going. They're in favor of everything you're doing.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah, I mean, look at, do you favor or oppose a modernize of public facilities by the city of Sandy Oaks? 71% in favor of. Now, would you be in favor or oppose to the use of, to increase taxes for the use of bonds and moderate city infrastructures? 57% in favor of. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You're already doing what the people that live there want.
Right.
So, Catherine, I sent you a copy of an ordinance for the master plan. I don't know if your copy of the master plan should be the very last page, should be an ordinance for the master plan.
Yes, the last two
Yeah.
pages,
And
which,
that's an example of, instead of buying or paying to get the ordinance done, that's an example of the ordinance that would approve the master plan. And so when we amend it, right, I'm gonna come back and we're gonna amend it, you'll have to reapprove it.
and I'll leave that up to the mayor to decide to have the
Sure.
attorney review it.
Yes.
Yeah, you're good to have an attorney. A lot of little cities do not even have that. Don't even have an attorney look
Oh.
at this stuff.
Does not. I'm just looking through the questions on the survey and item 15.
They're interesting, right? They're
Yeah, they are.
But take a look at the master plan, read over it a little bit. Any questions, email me, call me. It doesn't matter to me. I'll answer any questions that you may have. I'm going to meet with your planning and zoning commission once you approve it. And so, because this is their guide to planning and zoning.
Exactly.
Okay, so I will work with them. So the reason that that's important is because if you're going forward with this plan, for instance, right? And they say, somebody comes to you and says, I'm going to replat my property along Priest Road because I want to put some sort of shop down there. Well, according to your master plan, your goal is to have your commercial area along Priest Road. And so if it's following the plan and there's no reason, and he can prove, it's up to him to prove that, it tells you on the master plan how beneficial it is to the city, then you're okay with that, right?
Tony, the attorney has a question.
Sure.
Cassandra?
It's more of a comment. So before the council adopts the master plan, it does need to go to planning for review. And then planning would give a recommendation. They'd have a public hearing, they give a recommendation. It would come back to council for the approval, and a public hearing would need to be held prior to
Oh.
So instead of it going to council approving and then going back to planning for their guide, planning should review it first and give a recommendation to council.
Okay. Do you want me to meet with planning and zoning before or after their review?
Yeah, I would leave that up to council. It's my understanding you've conducted some town halls. Is that right? So I don't know if you want to, or if council wants to have planning and zoning, maybe a presentation similar to this before they consider it, and at a separate meeting, a public hearing, and then a recommendation to council, or it can all be done in one meeting to just avoid those that redundancy.
Well,
But
if they have questions or they have concerns, they may want something changed.
Yeah, and to give their recommendations of what to amend, to have citizens input or that testimony actually at a public hearing, aside from the surveys. And if there's no public testimony, we can rely on the city can rely on the surveys.
Can I make the next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, Mickey?
Yes, we have not had one scheduled for obvious reasons in the
Yeah.
last couple of months, just because of things that are happening. But
Yeah.
we certainly have this venue here available to conduct that meeting.
Okay, I'm open to that too. So whenever you can get them together, whenever you want to set the schedule, I'll do this again.
Okay, perfect. And then in the meantime, we can make sure that they have a copy of this preliminary draft as soon as possible so that they can review it and be prepared for the discussions. Cassandra, I would like to ask that you be on that meeting as well, if you don't mind, just to make sure we're proceeding correctly.
You forgot to unmute.
Let's see your hand up, Cassandra. And you are on mute.
Okay, I'm sorry. And so yes, I can attend that meeting, and I lost my train of thought right now. I can attend the meeting.
Okay,
I think about what I was going to say then.
yeah,
I'll read.
just to make sure that we're proceeding correctly is what we need. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So
Thank
we
you,
will
Cassandra.
get that to them. All right, Tony, thank you very much for that.
No problem. Any questions you have, anytime, you email me, call me. I'll answer any questions you might have in there. I know there may be a lot, but if you start looking through it and you do have a question, we're open to that.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, let me shift gears a moment. Okay, next on the agenda is item 6A, administration. Discuss and or possible action on an increase of weekly work hours for the court clerk, Kathy Plate. Because of COVID-19, we canceled our March 16th court. That involved resetting all of those items on the docket to May. And then we canceled our April court, and those all got pushed to June. And so what's going to happen is, as soon as we can start holding court again, which we hope that'll be within the next month for sure, but we don't know for certain just yet. The expectation is that perhaps we start scheduling 2 dockets a month, just to kind of clear the backlog a little bit. The other item is that with Deputy Castillo finishing up his training, we now will have 2 officers out, and that's twice the work for the number of ordinance violations or traffic citations or whatever the activity is that they're working on. So originally we had authorized Ms. Plate to work 24 hours a week. And what I approached her about earlier this week was if she would be open to adding an additional day to that. So it would be a not to exceed 32 hours. If I can have my druthers at some point in the future, I'm gonna bring her on full time, but so that is the intent of item 6A, is just to authorize the additional work hours. Now, it doesn't mean that she will always be working those hours, but she will have up to 32 hours a week to do what she needs to do. So there's a lot that goes into preparing the court docket, all the notifications that need to happen. She checks all the citations against to make sure that they're prepared correctly, and a lot of work that goes in on the backside of getting all this done. And I do want to say she's done a really phenomenal job getting this court set up. So I do want to publicly thank her for that. That is, my recommendation is to increase her not to exceed hours to be 32 per week. Are there any comments from the council? No hands?
Move to approve work hours for the court clerk not to exceed 32 hours weekly.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Tremblay to approve extending the work hours for the court clerk not to exceed 32 hours a week. And I see Mr. Fillinger. The chair recognizes Alderman Fillinger.
Yes, I second that motion.
The emotion?
He said
Stuttering.
motion.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the hour increase not to exceed 32 hours. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Okay, item 6B is discuss and a possible action on an annual merit increase for court clerk Kathy Plate. And she did attain her 1-year anniversary with the city. Kathy, or Catherine, what was the date in April that occurred?
April 11th.
April 11th. And so again, with the budgets, for this fiscal year budget, I did build in an increase for everybody. We've done this for Catherine, we've done it for Chris, and now it's Kathy's turn. Like I said, I built in 3%. I would like to recommend taking that to at least 4% if possible, if the council's agreeable with that. We have the money in the budget to cover it. She's really done a very phenomenal job for the city. She's very knowledgeable in what she does. She has worked tirelessly to get all the systems set up, making sure the dockets are set correctly, working with both the prosecutor and the municipal judge, and just working to make the whole operation run smoother. So I will entertain discussion from council members if they would like to make any comments or recommendations. The chair recognizes Alderman Yelton.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Mayor. At the present time, with the budget that we're on and we're being squeezed hard right now, I would recommend 3%, not 4%, and to be reviewed at a different time. But right now we're in tight quarters, so this is something that's a big concern to me.
Okay, that's duly noted. Anyone else have any comments? Mr. Fox, did you have something to offer? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a no. Okay, so.
I think you didn't unmute. You forgot to unmute.
Okay, I guess he'll be back.
Can you hear me?
There he is.
Okay.
Mr. Fox, did you have a comment?
No, ma'am. She's done a great job.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Alderman Yelton, was that a motion, or would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we hold the raise to 3% at this present time because of the situation we're in on the court clerk and carry that forward.
Okay. So we have a motion by Alderman Yelton to approve a 3% increase to the court clerk Kathy Plate. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Is that Alderman Rapino?
It is.
Well,
yes.
Hello, sir. Okay, so we have a
I've
motion
been
by
here all the time.
I know, but I haven't seen you in forever. We have a motion by Alderman Yelton and a second by Alderman Rapino to approve a 3% increase to the court clerk Kathy Plate. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. The motion carries.
Can I ask whether this starts immediately or the next, the beginning of the next pay period? Which would be, for payroll purposes, easier if it starts
The
on,
next pay period, but I would defer to the attorney to guide us as to, do we need to bring that back or can we make an additional motion?
I suggest making an additional motion.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion as to when the increase is effective?
I'll move that the increase is effective at the next, beginning of the next pay period.
Okay. So we have a motion by Alderman Rapino to make the increase for the court clerk to be effective at the beginning of the next pay period. Catherine, do you know the date on that?
should be, today was a payday, or tomorrow. It will be May 3rd.
Is it Monday?
4th, yeah, well, May 3rd is, yeah.
Is
The
the
pay
beginning of
period
the pay
begins
period.
on a Sunday, but yeah, May 4th.
Okay.
Okay.
So we will have it effective beginning of the next pay period, which begins May 3rd. Do we have a second on that? I see
I'll
Alderman
second.
Yelton has his hand up. Okay,
Second.
so we have a second by Alderman Yelton. All in favor on the second action, say aye, please.
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, thank you for that. Item 6C, discuss and/or possible action on second reading of ordinance 2020-160, adopting a juvenile curfew. So this is one that we put out for a second reading, and that would be today. And Ms. Shelton, did we receive any comments from citizens on this particular item?
No, ma'am, none at all.
Okay, so we amended it at the last meeting with what we were proposing it to be. And Ms. Ortiz, I'm assuming that the council may now consider this for approval or not?
Yes, the council can consider it for adoption. And just a side note, this is only effective for 3 years. At the end of 3 years, it expires. And unless council brings it back and they either amend it, otherwise, if it's not changed or readopted, it's abolished. And so I was going to suggest Catherine make a note on or just a calendar reminder, maybe 2 months before, so council can hold a public hearing and reconsider the ordinance.
Okay, and then this is also one that needs to be published before it's effective, is that correct?
Yes, there are fees associated to it, yes.
Okay,
Or fines, actually.
fines associated, yes, okay.
I'll get it in Wednesday's publication.
Well, you'll do that assuming the council approves it. Okay,
Well,
the
of
chair
course.
recognizes Alderman Fillinger.
Yes, I'd make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2020-160, adopting a juvenile curfew as amended.
Okay. We have a motion by Alderman Fillinger to approve the
I'll
motion.
second.
Yeah, this
Is
is
that-
Alderman Yelton. I second.
Hold on. Alderman Yelton has his hand up, so let me recognize him first.
Yes, I second the motion. This is a great thing. Thank you.
Okay. So Alderman Fillinger made a motion to approve ordinance 2020-160. It was seconded by Alderman Yelton. All in favor, say aye.
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 All
No,
opposed-
my hand doesn't work.
all opposed, say nay. Okay, the motion carries. We'll have to get your hand fixed. Okay, item 6D, discuss and/or possible action on a final review of a contract with JDL Solutions for IT services. I had asked Mr. Fox to work on this one, and I did not see it in my package. Catherine, did we get this resolved?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I have talked with Jerry about this, and I did check the budget. And what I would recommend is that we, as you and I discussed, we set an hourly rate and approve the time so that we don't exceed the budget for his service.
I thought I had sent the updated proposal. Did others receive the proposal in their email?
I didn't.
Did not.
Okay, I failed to share that. So, Mayor, can I share my screen to show you the proposal?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me pull the proposal up first. And I apologize for not having shared it. Can everyone see?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the previous contract that was submitted was for 15 hours. Jerry has mentioned that he would be here no less than 20 hours a week. He anticipates maybe doing Mondays and Wednesdays, and Jerry is on the call with us. He also included some verbiage regarding there would be no penalties to sever the contract. Just for a 7-day notice. Increased it to 20 hours, which would then be at he decreased the dollar amount to $2,000 a month instead of $2,500, which would then be $99 or $100 a month. And Alderman Walker has her hand raised.
Not a month, an hour.
I'm sorry, an hour.
Yeah, I was going to ask, it says 20 hours per month in the text. Did you mean to say per week?
No, actually, I meant to say per month, yeah.
Okay.
But he would be here, that's what he's committing to, is no less than 20 hours, but he would more than likely be here more than 20 hours, but still at the same price of $2,000 a month.
Okay.
This supports both the future City Hall and the current City Hall. Currently, with the former contract that we had, there was only one network for all of the equipment that we have, telephones, Ring, the cameras, the Ring doorbell, everything. Jerry is going to create 9 networks. That's also in red here.
And just to clarify, when we say creating 9 networks, that is not duplicating anything hardware-wise, correct, Jerry?
What it is the router can handle multiple networks. And when we move to the new location, that would all have to be separated through switches, which is not, because I have to dedicate a switch for a network, like for the Marshall and for the City Hall.
Got it. Okay. So we're not making 9 totally separate hardware configurations and network configurations. You're able to petition out the server that we have to accommodate this. I just people understand we're not looking to spend a whole lot of money on hardware to make this happen.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay.
And then he also clarified his after hours as weekend hours. So if he's here in the evenings because the marshal might be working evenings and needs to come in, that wouldn't be at an additional charge. It would be any weekend hours he would need to come in.
Okay. And is that, so this would be in addition to, let's say that he comes in on a weekend, he's going to get paid double time. Is that what I'm seeing here? because it's part of the 20-hour package, plus he's doing a call out on the weekend.
Well, my
I didn't hear.
understanding would be, it would be 2,000 a month, and then, yeah, any additional on the weekend would just be the $99 an hour. Is that correct, Jerry?
That is correct.
Alderman Tremblay has his hand
So,
raised.
so my concern, yeah, well, now that we've got, there we go. Chair recognizes Alderman Tremblay.
Yeah, I have the same concern on 20 hours a month, and then if you don't exceed that 20 and you come in on the weekend, we're still paying the 2,000 plus whatever. If you spend 5 hours there on the weekend, another $500. If you come in on a weekend and we haven't, so you're not utilizing those 20 hours if you come in on a weekend. The 20 hours would be Monday through Friday hours.
It would be Monday through Friday hours for the 20 hours. Right,
Okay.
for the 20, Monday through Friday. And if it's a weekend and I've already done the 20 hours, and then it'll be additional.
But if you haven't done the 20 and you come in on a weekend, those are in excess of the 2,000. So we would be paying additionally for the weekend hours, no matter what balance we have on the 20
right.
for the month. See what I'm saying? If you've worked 15 hours Monday through Friday, and we're into the 4th week, and we call you in on a weekend, and you're here for 4 hours, we pay $400, but we still have a balance. We still have hours available in the 20-hour bank.
Yeah, I would complete the 20 hours for the weekly. I would not do 15 hours and then leave the 5 hours, let's say a Saturday, to accommodate the 20.
And Jerry, you said
That's
weekly, you
separate.
meant monthly, right? The 20 hours
Yes.
monthly, yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah, I'd just like to see something in there that shows that the 20-hour service is a Monday through Friday service availability, and then the weekends would be in excess or in addition to.
Well, it doesn't that, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say Alderman Fillinger has his hand raised. Go ahead, sir.
Let me unmute. Yeah, actually, looking at the 20 hours per month, that's like 4.5 hours per week. And the services he's providing, he's never going to be under 20 hours a week or 20 hours a month. What he's asking us for is, he's not going to just come in on the weekend and go to work. We're going to have to call him in for a problem on the weekend. I don't see where he's going to service 9 networks, all the hardware, all the software in less than 4.5 hours a week. So,
and I would ask Jerry, typically, how much time are you spending on an average? I know they're not always the same, but let's say that we're not changing out a piece of hardware or adding a server like we did recently. What is your normal amount of time that you're spending on these projects during a week?
On projects, it varies depending how big the project is, depending what you got to do. Yeah, sometimes you spend 5-6 hours, a whole day, and just keeping eyes on the network. Checking everything that the router is up to date. Nobody is hacking into the system, or nobody's trying to come in through a back door in the router. I mean, that's something that is got to be visually manually done, you know. It's not something that I can remote in, or I can do other things, you know.
So would another option, I know early on in this discussion, it was mentioned that perhaps we approach it from an hourly rate. And the reason that I'm kind of concerned about this is that when this originally came up and we signed the contract with, Computer Express Solutions, yeah, that was $1,500 a month. And so now we're increasing it. And I'm just wondering if we went to in light of the same concerns that were mentioned related to the pay increase for the court clerk, you know, budget money is going to be very tight. And if we did it more on a usage-based thing, now from an administrative standpoint, that can be a little bit more challenging because somebody has to sign the in and out on that and verify the invoice when it comes in. The way it's being presented here now is it's just a flat fee every month, and we're given a list of the items and the amount of time that is being included in that monthly price. So be considerate of that when you get to the point of trying to make a decision on which way you want to go on this.
And I can
Gary?
confirm that he's been in the office at least twice a week, up to 5-6 hours. So, you know, be aware that if you go hourly, you might be looking at more.
Right. But back on that proposal, what was the cost per hour outside of the 20?
$99.
And how is that being
Well,
tracked?
outside of the 20?
Yeah.
Oh, he's committing to no less than. So if he does more than 20, my understanding, Jerry, is that it's still going to be 2,000.
That is correct.
Ah,
If I'm there 25, 30 hours in, let's say, in this month or May, it's still the same. That does not change. That is a minimum of 20 hours that is for that amount. And if
Gotcha.
I go over those 20 hours, the amount does not change.
okay. Okay.
Alderman Tremblay.
The
I'm
chair recognizes Alderman Tremblay. Take your mute off.
Yeah, I'm just saying then the whole proposal needs to reflect that, because it should say that not less than 20 hours per month.
Can you share that again, Catherine?
Yeah, I'm not seeing your screen, Catherine.
Okay.
Of 20 hours per month on-site remote, yeah, at a service rate, requesting 7-day notice. Yeah, but I don't see anything that says that the business continuity package of not less than 20 hours per month. So that would be one change that would need to be included in there. Because I know if you come in, you can load software and you could spend 4 hours sitting there trying to load software. So you could eat up 20 hours really fast.
Right.
So
that can be accommodated. That's no problem.
Right. So, you know, you have to look at it. Yeah, and our perspective is, you know, we're looking at a cost of $2,000 a month. What are we getting for that? What's the
Right.
the bang for the buck?
So you're recommending there where it says business continuity package of 20 hours per month, amending that sentence in some fashion?
Of a business continuity package of no less than 20 hours per month for on-site and remote.
Okay. Jerry, are you agreeable to that?
Yes, that'll be fine. That's no problem.
And then, so that, and again, those are,
who's messing with the screen here?
yeah, I don't know who that
Sorry,
is.
it's me. I was trying to pull something else up.
Also, somewhere in here, and this 20 hours per month would be accommodated Monday through Friday hours. So, Jerry, are you saying that if you've got 15 hours that you've utilized and you come in on a weekend, you will use those other hours before you start charging additionally?
No, the 20 hours per month is Monday through Friday.
Okay, so if we've only
That
got
if
10,
And David, I understand where you're going with that, and I think in the big picture, depending on the projects, there may be time where he's spending more than 20 hours and maybe
yeah,
next month.
I understand that totally. Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, was there anything else in the proposal that anyone would like to discuss or perhaps amend?
Alderman Tremblay has his hand raised again.
I can't tell because you've got something going on the screen. My screen's all black.
Oh,
Okay, Alderman Yelton has his hand raised and the chair recognizes Alderman Yelton.
Yes, I'd like to say that Jared does a very good job. He goes above and
I can't, we can't hear you very
concern
well.
with Jerry is not that he's not doing a great job. He's doing a great job. I think the proposal is great. Y'all can amend what you want to amend, but the man takes care of our security and our internet, and it's a great asset to what we're doing.
No, I understand. I agree. Totally agree.
Yeah, thank you.
But I think for clarification purposes, making that small amendment to that one sentence is appropriate.
Amen.
so my understanding was then it would say a minimum of 20 hours per month, Monday through Friday.
I put no less than 20
No less
hours.
than- Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion on this proposal? I see Alderman Yelton still has his hand up.
Yes, I do. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the proposal from the discussion about ordinance for the final review of the contract with JDL Social Solutions and IT Services, and make Jerry a firm person in what we're doing.
With
And-
amendments?
With amendments, yes.
With amendment.
And you need to state the amendment.
With amendment.
Okay. Alderman Rapino, I see your hand. You got it fixed.
I fixed it. Yeah, I went to the ER, but I guess I'll second that with the amendments.
With the amendment. Okay. So we have a motion by Alderman Yelton and a second by Alderman Rapino to accept the proposal from, and it's JDL, is that correct?
Yes.
JDL for,
JDL.
as presented with the amendment to add no less than 20 hours to the proposal. And would, who's going to authorize, who's going to approve that, execute that? Actually, let's do it in two pieces. So all in favor of the motion on the table, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Now we need a motion on who is authorized to execute that agreement. And I see no hands. Charles Fillinger, Alderman Fillinger, the chair recognizes you.
Yes, ma'am. I would move that we authorize Lou Fox to complete that transaction.
Okay.
May I make mention that with what's going on, Lou's been working from home and it would be difficult to get him to come in to sign, just to come in and sign a document.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes a difference.
Okay, the chair recognizes Alderman Fillinger.
Then I recommend we allow our mayor to complete that transaction.
Okay. And I see Alderman Yelton. Chair
I'll second
recognizes
on that
you.
one.
Okay, so we have a motion authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement with JDL. And we have a second by Alderman Yelton. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, Jerry, I'll make it a point to get there sometime. Catherine will leave it there for me. Who's gonna modify it? Is that you, Catherine, or is that Jerry?
I can modify it.
Okay, if you'll just add that verbiage.
Mhm.
And then if you leave it on your desk or in my box, whichever one, I'll make a point to get down there to sign it.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, item 7, discuss and or possible action on a quote from Vulcan Signs for signage hardware. So I know that there was a revised quote that came out late this afternoon. And so if you remember, I think it was, I don't remember if it was our last meeting or the meeting before, but we approved the purchase of some signs and poles, street signs, traffic signs. What was not included in that is the actual hardware to secure them to the poles. And so, you know, we learn as we go. We've never had to do this before, and now we know. So I know that is Christopher on the call. Yes, he is. Christopher, would you unmute yourself and talk to us about what you got on here and which recommendation you're proposing?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So I'm proposing that we get some hardware that, like you said, without it, we wouldn't be able to put up signs that we need. I was looking at different options, but this one's probably the cheapest and the best options. And the reason for the 50 count and the 100 count is because we need 2 of each, and then the 50 would be for each pole. I don't see a reason to buy any less than 50 since we already have the 50 poles. So that's my reasoning behind that.
And so the quote total, the one that you're recommending is the $867. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the 882, that was just higher quantities on some items.
Correct, and some of them were, I think, removed.
Okay. And we do know, because I've had this conversation with Christopher, is we do know the money is available in his budget to cover this. So what is the status on receiving the signs and the pole? Well, I think we already have the poles. Where are we with getting the signs?
I'm sorry?
What is the status on receiving the signs themselves?
We have not gotten a status on that. They usually don't tell us anything until it actually gets here. They'll call us maybe an hour in advance saying, hey, we're here.
Oh, okay.
There's no like
So they haven't
tracking
arrived.
number.
It's not like we're just waiting to get the hardware.
When all the signs were approved at one meeting, the early March meeting, there was 2 separate orders. So we did get the traffic signs of stop signs, yield, I think like one ways or whatever.
Wow,
It's the street name signs that we have not received, which obviously is going to take longer since they're
custom made.
You've got a lot of echo going on, Ms. Shelton. The chair recognizes Alderman Yelton.
Yes, I'd like to make a point about the, David, Termy and I talked about this, and with the time spent that we send our businessmen down to acquire.
And Alderman Yelton, I'm going to stop you for just a moment. It sounds like you're very, very, very far away, so we can barely hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'd like to address the situation with the police building that David and I talked about. You know, with the situation going on with the coronavirus, the situation is time we save $85, it's not going to make a difference in what we're doing. These signs need to go up. The posts need to go up. We have the concrete. We have the post. We literally need the hardware to make it happen.
Okay, and the chair recognized, oh, well, I thought I saw someone else's hand up. I see Alderman, the chair recognizes Alderman Fillinger.
Yes, I move that we approve to buy the hardware in an amount not to exceed $900.
900, okay. And Alderman Yelton, the chair recognizes you.
Yes, I'd like to second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger with a second by Alderman Yelton to approve the quote to purchase the hardware for the signs at a price not to exceed $900. All in favor say aye.
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 All
I've been muted. I'll say aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, and with that, it is 7:38 p.m. and we are now adjourned. And thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.